Rahul Gandhi's legal troubles are mounting. There have been a fresh summons from a Patna court now in a defamation case concerning the same speech he made linking corruption to the Modi surname. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo story. Our focus today is on the mounting troubles for the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. This time, the petition is by Sushil Modi, who in fact happens to be an OBC leader of the BJP himself. Remember, Mr. Gandhi has been convicted for a 2-year sentence in prison for a speech that seemingly linked the OBC community, according to the petitioner, to corruption. The Congress has said that was not the reference, it was a rhetorical speech, and two of the three people named are not even from the OBC community. But now a Patna court has issued the same summons in the same case, and this time the petitioner is from the OBC community. As all of this unfolds, Rahul Gandhi has still not filed an appeal against the original verdict that convicted him. Is he trying to play political martyr, or is this something else that's concerning the Congress? Amit Shah has called Mr. Gandhi's delay in filing an appeal a sign of arrogance. How do we look at what's unfolding? Is it pushing the Congress on the back seat, on the defensive, or is it an opportunity for the Congress to create this into a moment of political sympathy? Let's introduce our guests on the program today. Joining us is Aashutosh Srivastava, who's of course a lawyer and a political analyst. Namaskar and good to see you. Arati Jerath, veteran journalist and columnist, is with us. Great to have you with us as always, Arati. Also joining us is Kapil Komireddi. Kapil Komireddi is of course an author and a columnist, a scathing critic of the Gandhi family. It would be curious to see how he sees this particular issue. Also joining us from the BJP is its senior leader Ashwini Shahi. Namaskar, Ashwini ji. Always good to see you. And finally, Tehseen Poonawalla, the die-hard optimistic Congress supporter, is also with us. It's great to see all of you. Let me start with you, Tehseen. Firstly, it is befuddling. It's been what, more than a week? It was exactly, in fact, a week ago that this news came in that Rahul Gandhi had been convicted. There's been no appeal filed yet. Is the Congress hoping to milk this politically? Is that the reason you think that an appeal has not been filed? And do you think that the Congress's legal eagles, do you think they're being smart?
Barkha, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'm going to take the bull by the horns. I've heard the BJP suddenly being extremely sympathetic. The most honorable Home Minister spoke. Oh, why hasn't Rahul Gandhi ji appealed this verdict? There has been suggestions about a Congress spokesperson for whom the Congress rushed to the Supreme Court and saying, look, they haven't done so for Rahul Gandhi ji. None of this is legally prudent arguments. And you expect the BJP not to make legally prudent arguments. They just don't understand law or constitution. But to see others indulge in what can best be described as gossip actually leaves me surprised. So let's get to the facts. This particular judgment, which in my opinion has a lot of question marks, came about a week ago. There is 30 days to appeal, and an appeal will happen within 30 days. That's the time. There is no bonus points for going first. Let's hypothetically assume you would have run the next day to the Sessions Court. Then, even if you would have gone the next day to the Sessions Court, you got to submit documents. These documents, one, they were 700, 800 pages in the judgment. And that's not what I'm saying that they weren't interpreted. But to counter it, because this judgment, in my opinion, bowing before the Surat Court is so full of flaws, there has to be very good counters from various high courts, why this is not criminal defamation, Supreme Courts, and why the suspension should be stayed and suspended. The disqualification as an MP and the judgment. All of this requires enough and voluminous paper to be put. Now, to say that you have to go in one day is befuddling. Now, let's hypothetically assume you went the next day to the Sessions Court.
8 days.
No, so let's assume give me another date, but you would.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that is from your end. Yeah. Let's assume you would have gone the second day to the court. The court would have said, okay, temporarily we are listening to you. You come back in 4 days, 5 days. The paperwork would not have been ready. You'd rather go with an absolute crisp argument and with absolute complete paper. So that is one.
You're making a legal argument. Politically. The cases are going to multiply. Bar and bench reports that there are at least 9 pending defamation cases. There's already been a new summons from a Patna court, right? Politically, here's my question. Is it your sense as a Congress supporter, that this is going to work to the Congress advantage or disadvantage? Because remember, if Mr. Gandhi in some moment of bravado chooses to not appeal and go to jail, he's potentially sitting out 8 years from even contest, and can't contest in Lok Sabha 2024.
No, I don't think the Congress, it's a question of the Congress milking this or not milking this. The fact is the Congress has to go to the people, the citizens of this country, and tell them, for example, in the case in which Rahul Gandhi ji is convicted, it's only the second case for a maximum conviction since this law has been introduced during the times of the British. The entire procedure of the Surat court, the entire procedure is filled with flaws with respect to the Surat court. When have you, Barkha, and I have so much respect for you, anyone on this panel, Arati ji, ever heard of a petitioner wanting to summon Rahul Gandhi the second time? When that summon was not upheld, Barkha, just give me 10 seconds. He goes to the High Court, gets a stay on his own case, and then goes to the High Court to remove a stay on his own case. Look, there is an institutional bias against Rahul Gandhi ji, and I'm not attributing any motives to the courts. I'm attributing this to the government. But there is an institutional bias. When the most honorable Prime Minister, I'll finish in 20 seconds, says, Shamshan Kabristan, when he says, Dangayo ko kapdo se pehchana jata hai, and I filed a complaint against him, no action is ever taken against the Prime Minister. No action is taken against Pragya Thakur for absolute hate speech he's making. But Rahul Gandhi, it's made out to say that he's targeted an entire OBC community when Nirav Bhai Modi and Lalit Bhai Modi were not OBC citizens. This is beyond ridiculous. It's bizarre. And I think somebody has to take this, and the Congress needs to take this on.
Okay. Now you've made a sort of multiple points there. Yes. Let me go to Ashwini Shahi of the BJP. Ashwini Shahi, on the one hand, ये बात बिल्कुल ठीक है कि नीरव मोदी and Lalit Modi OBC community से नहीं है. Those two of the three Modis that Rahul Gandhi referred to, जो तीसरे reference थे वो, that was of course the Prime Minister who does happen to be from the OBC community. अब एक और केस आ गया है सुशील मोदी जी का, बिहार से, और पटना कोर्ट ने उसमें समन दे दिया है. डू यू थिंक द बीजेपी इज प्लेइंग बाय फेयर रूल्स? क्योंकि सुशील मोदी तो बीजेपी के हैं. अब तक बीजेपी ने पोजीशन दी कि ये जो हुआ है ये तो कोर्ट से हुआ है, लेकिन सुशील मोदी तो आप ही की पार्टी के नेता हैं. इन केसेस की क्या जरूरत है? क्या इससे ये इंप्रेशन नहीं बढ़ेगा कि बाय हुक और बाय क्रोक आप लोग राहुल गांधी को पार्लियामेंट से बाहर रखना चाहते हैं? अश्विनी शाही
जी. बरखा जी, मैं मोदी जी की बात कर रहा हूं जो बिहार में उन्होंने ये केस की बात की. जिस दिन राहुल गांधी जी को सजा सुनाई गई थी उसी दिन सुशील मोदी जी का बयान आ गया था कि हमने पटना में भी एक वो कर रखा है, पहले से कर रखा है, उसके बाद नहीं किया, पहले से कर रखा है. क्योंकि उन्होंने जो नीरव भाई मोदी और वो जो तहसीन भाई कह रहे हैं उनके पूरे बयान को सुना जाए तो उन्होंने लास्ट में कहा था कि सारे मोदी सरनेम वाले ही चोर क्यों होते हैं. सीधा सा उन्होंने कहा था. वो ललित मोदी उसमें हो, नीरव मोदी हो, नरेंद्र मोदी हो, सुशील मोदी हो, ये नहीं था. सारे मोदी नाम वाले ही, उपनाम वाले ही चोर क्यों होते हैं, ये उन्होंने कहा था. तो इसलिए पूरे मोदी समाज के तरफ से पूर्ण मोदी भाई मोदी ने जो है केस किया और आज सुशील मोदी जी ने केस किया हुआ है. तो इसमें कुछ ऐसी बात नहीं है. दूसरी बात, मैं तहसीन जी कह रहे हैं कि अचानक सिंपैथी क्यों आ गई है, मैं इनका भी जवाब देना चाहूंगा. देखिए, एक राजनीतिक दल के लोग हैं और राहुल जी कई बार के सांसद हैं और एक ऐसे परिवार से हैं जो सबसे पुरानी पार्टी के लोग हैं. आज हमारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सामने एक अकेली वही पार्टी है जो कि एक सबसे पुरानी पार्टी और प्रमुख विपक्षी पार्टी, भले ही दर्जा ना प्राप्त हो लेकिन प्रमुख हैं वो. तो उनको हम सजा याफ्ता मुजरिम कैसे देख सकते हैं? तो हमको एक राजनीतिक जो है, हमको दुश्मनी नहीं है उनसे, प्रतिद्वंदिता हो सकती है. तो हमारे अंदर अगर सिंपैथी न हो, तो अगर सिंपैथी हो रही है उस पर भी सवाल, न हो तो हम दुश्मनी साध रहे हैं. ये तहसीन भाई थोड़ी सी बात समझ में नहीं आई. तो हम सजा याफ्ता मुजरिम न कह के उनको चाहेंगे कि वो कहीं ना कहीं कोर्ट में करें. अब दूसरी बात, मैं कहता हूं कि ये तो गांधी फैमिली है. दो उदाहरण के साथ मैं बात करना चाहूंगा. अभी पवन खेड़ा जी का मामला हुआ, 2 मिनट में जो है कोर्ट के बाद 2 घंटे के अंदर उनका सब मामला रफा दफा हो गया. टाइगर जिंदा है का नारा भी आ गया जयराम रमेश जी के तरफ से. प्रियंका गांधी की शादी हुई थी, मुझे याद है कि किसी ने कह दिया था कि मैंने पहले शादी कर लिया है. उसके लिए के पराशर जी बहुत बड़े वकील थे उस समय, वो एक निचली अदालत में चले गए गांधी परिवार के, उसके लिए सबको याद होगा, मुझे लग रहा है. जब वहां पर किया जा सकता है तो अश्विनी कुमार जी उनके कानून मंत्री थे, कपिल सिब्बल जी थे, सिंघवी साहब है, चिदंबरम जी थे, इतने बड़े बड़े वकीलों की फौज, और इतनी देरी क्यों हो रही है? ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के बड़े नेता आपको बताना चाहते हैं. मुझे लग रहा है बरखा जी, मुझे लग रहा है कि वो कांग्रेस के अंदरूनी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक के शिकार हैं इस समय राहुल गांधी जी। इसलिए हम लोगों को यह सहानुभूति हो रही है। और पता नहीं क्यों एक मुझे लग रहा है कि एक पता मैं कितना सही हूं मैं नहीं कह सकता कि रेहान वाड्रा का नाम रेहान वाड्रा गांधी कर दिया गया है। भविष्य की कुछ सूचना क्या मिल रही है मुझे नहीं पता है। एक सूचना मिली थी मुझे, मैं कितना सच हूं मैं नहीं जानता।
अच्छा, एक
मैं
मिनट,
तहसीन भाई मैं जानता नहीं हूं जी।
Are you
जी जी जी
actually
जी।
saying, एक मिनट, Tehseen, 1 minute. Ashwini Shahi, are you actually suggesting that this delay is because Rahul Gandhi is being sabotaged by his own party? आप यही इशारा कर रहे हैं?
लग रहा है कि वो अंदरूनी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक के शिकार हो रहे हैं कि अब उनके जाने से देखिए कितने लोग खुश हैं, कांग्रेस में भी खुश हैं और सबसे ज्यादा खुश अरविंद केजरीवाल जी हैं। देखिए किस तरीके से प्रधानमंत्री जी पर हमले चालू हो गए, नीतीश कुमार जी चालू हो गए। एक जो वैक्यूम बन रहा है राहुल गांधी जी के हटने से, तो देखिए कितने लोगों के अंदर खुशी आई है जो लोट लोट कर हंस रहे हैं इस समय। तो उसमें एक संभावना थी हमारी जी।
Okay, Tehseen, very briefly, because everyone is waiting to speak. Please do go ahead.
Like I said, this is gossip which has now come into news channels and credible shows like yours. And a lot of respect, Ashwini ji. But let's prove that this is gossip right now. If the BJP is so sympathetic to Rahul ji, if it is so sympathetic, withdraw the cases. The person in Gujarat, Surat, was an ex-BJP MLA. Sushil Modi is a BJP MLA, BJP minister. You can't run with the hare and hunt with the You can't run with the hare and hunt with the hound and say, oh, but this is sympathy. Look, we want Rahul Gandhi to go. This is institutionalized targeting of Rahul Gandhi ji. Please remember, there's a context. He wasn't allowed to speak in Parliament. 3 union ministers stopped him, made a complaint against him, allegations against him, didn't allow him to speak in Parliament. This is institutionalized targeting and now trying to whitewash it.
Okay, Arati, Kapil, and Aashutosh, let me bring all three of you in. Arati, I'll start with you. The politics at the heart of it. The law will be decided in court, and it could be a long legal journey. Mr. Gandhi will have to first go to a sessions court, then he'll have to go to a high court. Both of those will be in Gujarat, and only then will he be able to come to the Supreme Court. And if we're talking about gossip, most people believe that it will take that long for him to sort of get off this conviction. In the meantime, he could get multiple summons. He could basically spend the next year up to 2024 fighting these cases. Now, he has three options. He says sorry, he fights them, he goes to jail. Arati?
So, Barkha, I think, there are only two people who are getting really impatient about Rahul Gandhi's appeal. One, of course, is the media, because we're all waiting for a story. We need stories every day. And the other is the BJP, which is dying for him to file an appeal, because I think genuinely, Barkha, they are scared that if he does not file an appeal, he will have to be arrested and he will have to go to jail. And there's nothing like a stint in jail to make a martyr of somebody.
But it won't be a stint,
that's
right?
what the BJP fears the most, Barkha, making him into a martyr.
But Arati, it won't be a stint. It's a 2-year conviction and another 6
years
out of Parliament.
You can file an appeal even from jail, maybe after you've done a stint there for 2 months, 3 months. Who knows? We don't know how these things work. I mean, just because you're in jail does not mean you cannot file an appeal for bail or, whatever. Because, I mean, the fact is, it is not a serious criminal charge, is it? Like a rape or a murder. Even rapists and murders come out on bail, when they're in jail. So, this is just a defamation case, that too a very dubious defamation case. And the whole manner in which he was disqualified is very dubious. The manner in which they're seeking to evict him from his official bungalow is also very dubious. So, the whole thing, and if the BJP goes on and on filing cases against him, I mean, if there are 10 cases, and now there's another one by some guy on some other speech he made, I mean, honestly, they're just going to end up making him into a hero. I don't know why the BJP is going after him like this. Okay. And that's what they're going to do. Rahul Gandhi, had lost his credibility. He was being, laughed off as a pappu and so on. He regained some of it with the Bharat Jodo Yatra. And now the BJP is going to crown him with the halo of a martyr.
Okay, let me bring in Kapil.
I don't understand the politics behind this.
So, Kapil, in your piece for the print, you made a similar argument. You said this was a fading Rahul Gandhi who was being resurrected by these cases. But let me just push both you and Arati on this. For your theories to work, they would have to be a kind of wider public sympathy. And even if people feel, yes, the BJP has gone too far, what is the need for this case? The problem for Mr. Gandhi, I think, is that a lot of people look on politics as a kind of theater. It's their daily entertainment, it's something to gossip about, and then they forget about it. They don't actually see it as impacting their their daily lives. If there isn't enough cataclysmic mobilization of public opinion, how does this halo that journalists are seeing around Rahul Gandhi's head actually translate into anything? Kapil.
Right. Okay. A lot has been discussed here, so I just want to begin by saying you mentioned my theory about the Prime Minister making him into a martyr. I also mentioned that the most plausible thing here is that the Prime Minister didn't instruct anyone to disqualify Rahul Gandhi. Someone disqualified Rahul Gandhi in order to impress the Prime Minister. That's
Correct.
how tortured things are. That's how
Correct.
far we've gone in terms of India becoming an authoritarian state. People now do things just to impress the big man. Right. The second theory, this is all conjecture, of course, I don't know what the Prime Minister is thinking, is that the Prime Minister needs Rahul Gandhi. He desperately needs this man because he owes 2 victories to him. The Prime Minister won 2 elections, and that's because of this very entitled prince. And he wants him to be the face of the opposition a 3rd time. And he doesn't want him to slacken. He wants him to be in the public, in the spotlight, and therefore he's bruising him into action. He's insulting him into action. That's the second theory. The third thing I want to say is it's so strange, Barkha. It's so surreal. I've reported from about 14 or 15 countries, and I was in Syria a decade ago, and I see people being shot dead, killed, dead bodies everywhere. And to sit here and discuss Rahul Gandhi as a victim is so surreal. This man grew up as a prince, and everything has been given to him in his life. This man is 53 years old, and he goes on a learning mission for 20 years. And to sit here for grown men, to sit here and sympathize with him, and oh my God, he's being evicted from his house. This is so terrible. No, this man he's placing his living cadaver in the space where there should be an opposition. Your BJP panelist said something very interesting, that since the day of his disqualification, Arvind Kejriwal has come out and started yelling at Modi. Others have come out and done the same. This is great. This is already, the opposition is blossoming, and I hope for Rahul Gandhi's sake that he becomes obsolete, because there are parasites around him who would like him to be there.
So you clearly don't feel sorry. You clearly don't feel sorry for Mr. Gandhi. You clearly don't feel sorry for him.
I feel sorry for him. Yeah, I do feel sorry for him. I think he's fundamentally a decent man who's been thrust into this position. And I think, his heart's not in this. And I find it rather insulting that this man is going to rescue India or redeem India or he's not going to do any of that. He's a terrible MP. When he had the free run of the place, he was barely ever there in Parliament. He was in the Defence Committee. He skipped all of its meetings. He's a malingerer. And I don't look to him, to rescue India or to beat back Modi. And it tells you a lot about people for whom, you can determine the caliber and the nature of a people by who they follow. And anyone who tells me I'm passionately supportive of Rahul Gandhi, they reveal who they are. And I feel sorry for them. I don't hate Rahul Gandhi. I feel sorry for him. I just wish he now goes away. I hope this is a new beginning for the opposition in India.
Okay.
That's my view on this.
Okay, Tehseen, hang on. I have to let Aashutosh speak. Give me a second. Aashutosh, let's bring you in. Right, so a lot has been said, ranging from those who feel Rahul Gandhi is going to become a martyr to those who say, well done. If he fades away, it isn't the most fair way, but maybe it'll galvanize the opposition in a different direction. This is an entitled sort of prince, and he was never cut out to be a politician. But my question is different to you as a lawyer. Today, this is a Congress member of parliament. Tomorrow, it could be a BJP member of parliament or a member of parliament from another party. Surely we should all be speaking against this sort of specious judgment, right? This kind of criminal defamation that can put away somebody for 2 years for a speech that doesn't incite violence.
Yes. See, what I feel that when the court had taken the cognizance of this issue, he had this legal opportunity. There were many legal remedies available to him. he could have easily approached the High Court under Section 482 of CRPC for quashing either of the FIR or the cognizance of the court or the issue process if it was issued under Section 200 of CRPC. So all these options were available. So it is rather very surprising as to why no such legal remedy was opted for. And the finally after all the trial, the examination of the witnesses and all the due process of law, he has been convicted. Now, if we see the legal part of it, Section 8 and subsection 3 of the Representation of People's Act clearly mentions that if somebody is convicted for 2 years or more, will be, disqualified to be the member of parliament or MLA or MLC. And there was one more provision, Section 8, subsection 4, which used to give 3 months time for filing appeal. And when you file appeal and when the appeal is pending, you will not be disqualified. But this issue before Supreme Court in 2005, and we know it as Thomas Lilly versus Union of India, which was decided in 2013, when the Supreme Court struck down Section 8, subsection 4 of the Representation of People's Act, stating that it is unconstitutional because if anybody is convicted and he has to be disqualified, then that person goes and files an appeal, and the appeal till the time it is pending, that particular person enjoys the office or the position what he is elected for, whether it is member of parliament, MLA or MLC.
Yes.
So this is what was decided, and it is not the first case. I would say it has happened to other politicians as well, like Lalu Prasad Yadav or Jayalalitha. So this is not the first case. It has been happening. In fact, if we see, the Congress had come up with a new bill, to amend that law, but that was that could not be placed before Parliament. The ordinance, yes. The ordinance was never passed. It was never introduced. So everything, it has not happened suddenly. It has taken a lot of time, and this has happened as per the by following the procedures of law. Now let me pick up. Now the issue. So now the issue, if we come to that issue that so many people are filing now defamation case at different places, even for that, he has a legal remedy. He can approach the Supreme Court stating that there are different states involved and all these cases to be transferred and to be at once maybe at the apex court, which can decide it to its finality. And then he is not supposed to run around to all these courts. These options are available.
That's a very good point. That last point I want to bring up is a very good point. And Tehseen, it is befuddling, right? The point is, if there had been an appeal for a stay, and let's say a court had granted a stay hypothetically, the Patna court would have thought 10 times before summoning him. That's point one. Point two, Ashutosh makes the excellent point that with 10 different cases pending across the country, he has a basis, in fact, to appeal to the Supreme Court. It looks like he's calculating, let this play on, let this remain on low simmer. Maybe people will feel sorry for me. Maybe people will see me as the victim, which is exactly what Kapil is questioning, that he's many things, but he's not a victim. Tehseen.
No. See, let me come to Kapil later, but on a point of law, in the Jharkhand court, Rahul Gandhi did go to the High Court, and the High Court again refused to give a stay out there. So there has been an approach. You just can't go to the Supreme Court just because there are multiple cases. Even in that, there aren't multiple FIRs. There's a difference in multiple FIRs, as was the case in the Congress spokesperson or the BJP spokesperson, and multiple cases filed. Please understand, the Supreme Court is not a boss of all courts. It also is a sovereign court, and there are sovereign high courts. So there is a process of law. So that, I mean, there's a slight technicality in multiple FIRs and multiple cases.
I think can I allow Ashutosh a brief interjection there?
Yeah, sure.
Can I allow Ashutosh a brief interjection? Ashutosh, very briefly.
No. Yes, see, if there are FIRs for the same issue, for the same cause of action in different places, the Supreme Court can surely be approached as per the existing laws. And the Supreme Court the Supreme Court transfer all the FIRs to one place where the entire matter can be decided and investigated. So this is the law. This is the law.
Tehseen, but there are no FIRs is the point you're making.
The criminal defamation cases going on in trial. Now, how can the Supreme Court remove cases out of where they are in trial courts and move it all to one trial court? So that happens in very rare.
Okay,
They're not
guys,
FIRs.
guys,
So
guys,
that's
this
a
legal
very
argument will
technical point.
continue.
Yeah.
This
Let
legal
me come to
argument will
what Kapil
continue
said,
between
because
both of you.
so
Yeah,
one.
let's come to the
Yeah,
politics.
let me come to what Kapil said. Let me come to what Kapil said. Kapil said that he was 10 years ago in Syria and grateful that he's here today. And he says he feels it's surreal to be on this show discussing Rahul Gandhi. And I feel for him. I agree. But then no one forced him or put a gun on his head and asked him to sit here and discuss it.
No, he's
He
saying
chose
it's
to discuss.
surreal
No,
to
please.
see Rahul Gandhi as a
Please,
victim.
make my point.
Say the full, yeah, but say the full sentence.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I agree, and there are different circumstances. So, but nobody's forced you to now suddenly say, "Oh, but it's surreal to see him as a victim." The fact is, Rahul Gandhi did not make a hate speech. He did not incite a violence. He made a political speech in a political rally. Now, you may say Rahul Gandhi is incompetent. You may say he didn't attend the defense committee meetings. You may say he's not galvanized the opposition. You may say he helped Prime Minister Modi win 2 elections by not being a competent opposition leader. Fair. Those are all fair points and valid points, and I respect Kapil for that. But that does not justify Rahul Gandhi going to jail for 2 years on a political speech made in a rally. It was not a speech that was inciting hate or violence, particularly against the community. That's point number one. So you got to stand up against the wrong. If you don't stand up against the wrong, point number two.
Quickly, others have to come in. Yeah, quickly, Tehseen, quickly.
This is not a question of Rahul Gandhi rescuing India. This is a question of a political party which is being institutionally marginalized. There is a context to what's happened with Rahul Gandhi. And again, I come with the point that yes, Rahul Gandhi may not be the most.
You know what the best institutional answer is to win elections. The best institutional answer is to win more elections. But let's open up what you said.
And just give me 10 seconds more. Just 10 seconds more.
Okay.
Even when Rahul Gandhi just 10 seconds. Even under Rahul Gandhi as president, when the Congress won more elections compared to the BJP, except for the Lok Sabha elections, even then those governments were dropped through institutional mechanisms. Now you may say that makes Rahul Gandhi incompetent, but there is institutional bias against the opposition. Please answer one question, Kapil, and to everybody here. How is it that 99% of the raids by the Enforcement Directorate is on the opposition? How is it that all those being convicted are opposition leaders?
Tehseen, now you've hogged a lot of time. Arati first and then Kapil. Arati, go ahead. Arati, please. Yeah.
Barkha, I just want to say it's not a question of whether you and I feel sorry for Rahul Gandhi or we don't. Okay, we are a very minuscule portion of the population, and we frankly don't matter when it comes to votes. It's a question of how this thing plays out in the public domain. And I don't think today we are in a position to say whether it will play out in favor of Rahul Gandhi or it won't. But my analysis as I'm watching it is that if the BJP goes on hounding him, if the BJP goes on filing cases against him, and if ultimately he finds himself in jail one day, it can only win him sympathy in a larger mass of people, not from Kapil, not from me, not from you maybe, but we're talking about a larger mass of people out there who do, feel in India it has been a tradition, people going to jail for a political cause. And let's face it, this is not a rape case, this is not a murder case, it's not even a corruption case. It's a defamation case. It's for something he said in the heat of an election speech, and people say much worse things, during election.
No, I think that last point is absolutely correct.
So I think we need to watch it. I don't think we can sit here today in judgment and say that, we don't feel.
We don't know. But
we don't know. Absolutely. And we have to watch it play out.
Yeah. Right now, we don't see mass mobilization, but as you said, it all depends on whether he ends up in jail or whether it remains a conversation on shows such as this one. Kapil and then Ashwini Shahi. Kapil, please.
Right. I don't want to personalize this, but, Tehseen takes so much time and manages to say so little. First of all, the thing about putting gun to my head, that was nonsense. I didn't understand what he was saying about that. Second thing, he said Rahul Gandhi has been politically marginalized. He's a victim because people don't vote for him. Now, let's blame the electorate. Number three, he shouldn't go to jail. Then appeal this. And I don't think he will go to jail. I don't think he has it in him to go to jail. But the bigger question here is that, this man has, again, I have nothing against him. He doesn't attend parliament. He is the reason that Modi is in power. And look, we're talking about democracy, right? Within the Congress party, no other leader has been allowed to emerge. Shashi Tharoor stood participated in the election. Everyone who supported him, I just had lunch with somebody who supported him, has been marginalized within the party. If you want to see a genuinely squalid example of people stamping on Democrats, on democracy, on the destruction of dissent, take a microscope and study the Congress Party. This party is the most concentrated example of tyranny. Why is Rahul Gandhi even in the news? He's a backbench MP. You have a president called Mallikarjun Kharge. What's he doing? Why is his first order of business to say that Rahul Gandhi is going to be the prime ministerial candidate? Tehseen, you're a grown man, right? Do you not have any self-respect? Can't you say to yourself that I want a genuine opposition?
That's very personal. That's very personal.
No, come on. It's a genuine.
That's extremely personal. I have not used that language with you. I have not used that language with you. Kapil, 1 second. Don't speak for me. Don't ever speak for me. Don't ever make that mistake.
Okay, guys.
Don't ever use that language.
Let's try and keep it civil.
Ever use that language.
Okay. Can I come in and
perhaps, just hold on. I don't take insults. Perhaps you may have the spine of a molten eclair. I don't.
Okay,
now,
guys,
continue with your arguments without making it worse.
What's going on here?
Don't do that.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. Kapil and Tehseen.
You're full of stock phrases.
And request both of you to cut out the personal barbs. Both of you. That's my request to both of you. I just want to underline, because it may not be evident from what Kapil has said so far, that Kapil, you're saying this as a fierce critic of the Modi government as well. I just want to underline that. Sorry, now can we unmute Kapil just to make that point? Hang on, you're on mute. Give me a second. Now make it.
More than many of the panelists here.
Sorry, Kapil, go ahead.
I don't want to make a dance of it, but I've been targeted. I've been harassed in many other ways. I don't try to make myself into a martyr. I just want to make the point that Rahul Gandhi is not a martyr for democracy. He's complicit in the murder of democracy. And those who function as apologists for him should be ashamed.
Okay, now this is getting heated up, but again, my request to both Tehseen and Kapil is let's avoid personal barbs at each other. That's my personal request to both of you. Tehseen, give me 1 second, because Ashwini Shahi has been very patient, as has Aashutosh. For once, we're actually seeing a debate among the sort of anti-government commentators that is more heated than between the BJP and those who oppose it. So Ashwini Shahi, ये भी होता है, ऐसा भी होता है. But Ashwini Shahi, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी. This perception जो आरती ने बात की, that the BJP is hounding Rahul Gandhi, कि मोदी जी को राहुल गांधी की जरूरत है. जरूरत इसलिए because you want politics to look like Modi versus Rahul, because in that battle you think you will always win. Is that what's behind the cases? Ashwini ji.
जी देखिए बरखा जी, आरती जी ने जो कहा कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी हीरो बना रही, मैं उस बातों पर वो नहीं, कांग्रेस एक पुरानी पार्टी है. हम लोग हमेशा कांग्रेस और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अलावा है कौन पूरे भारत में, आज यही लोग नहीं समझ. अभी तहसीन भाई को ये लगा कि नहीं मैं दूसरी बात कर रहा हूं, लेकिन अभी यहां पर मैंने दो बातें देखी. अहंकार और सलाहकार दोनों ने राहुल गांधी जी को यहां पर लाकर खड़ा कर दिया इस मुहाने पर. अगर वो दो अभी वकील, एक तहसीन जी हैं और एक हमारे दूसरे वकील साहब है, देखिए इस तरीके से एक लीगल चीजों पर किस तरीके से इन लोगों ने अपनी दो ओपिनियन रखी कि कहां कैसे क्या हो सकता है. तो यही चीजें आज राहुल गांधी जी के साथ खड़ी हैं. अहंकार ना होता तो वो बिल ना फाड़ते, जिसकी वजह से आज जो है ये मामला होता, वो शायद बच जाते वैसे ही. वहां अहंकार था और अब यहां सलाहकार है कि हम कहीं जाएंगे नहीं, सॉरी नहीं बोलेंगे, भाई तुम वीर हो, शेर हो, चीता हो, जो भी हो, कह के लोगों ने चढ़ा दिया. बेचारे आज जो है आज इस मुहाने पर आकर खड़े हो गए. लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी की हमेशा सिंपैथी रहेगी अपने विरोधी दलों के साथ. अगर विरोधी ही नहीं होगा तो हम लड़ेंगे किससे? तो और ये नारा हम जरूर देंगे बरखा जी.
सिंपैथी है तो मत करिए ना केसेस. और क्यों कर रही है सुशील मोदी?
क्यों नहीं, हम देखिए वो न्यायालय की प्रक्रिया है. अब देखिए अभी इस सवाल का एक जवाब हम देते हैं. भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एजेंडे में राम मंदिर था, हमने सीना ठोक कर कहा कि हम राम मंदिर बनवाएंगे. माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से वो बन गया. आज तहसीन भाई भी कहते हैं और हमारे सारे विरोधी दल के लोग कहते हैं अरे वो तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से बना, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से बना. लेकिन अगर यहां सूरत कोर्ट ने फैसला दे दिया राहुल गांधी जी को कि सजायाफ्ता मुजरिम है, तो लोग कहते हैं बीजेपी की चाल है. अब तहसीन भाई ने दूसरी तरीके से कहा, इंस्टीट्यूशनल फॉल्ट कहा, कुछ इस टाइप के शब्द यूज किए इन्होंने. तो वो ठीक है, वकील है, थोड़ा सा घुमा के कहा, इन्होंने डायरेक्टली नहीं कहा. लेकिन विरोधी दल के लोग तो सीधा कहते हैं बीजेपी ने ये करवाया. अभी कपिल जी ने कहा बीजेपी ने, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने नहीं कहा, लेकिन उन्होंने इंप्रेस करने के लिए किया. तो भाई किस तरीके से न्यायालय इंप्रेस क्यों करेगी? उन्होंने पाया, न्यायालय के न्यायाधीश ने कहा कि आप सॉरी बोल दीजिए, आपको कुछ नहीं होगा। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी तो 50 बार सॉरी बोल के निकल गए हैं, उनका तो कोई सम्मान ही नहीं है। सबके ऊपर केस किया और जहां देखा फंस रहे, निकल लिए पतली गली से। लेकिन अगर यहां पर वो कर देते, तो यही अहंकार और सलाहकार की जरूरत होती है।
That is a very important point you made about Arvind Kejriwal. Tehseen, I'm actually going to give you the last word. I just want to bring Aashutosh in and we'll close with you, unless Arati wants to come in with the point. Aashutosh, a very interesting parallel with Arvind Kejriwal, who, as Ashwini Shahi just said, just apologized. Would it have cost Mr. I'm just putting it out there. Would it have cost Mr. Gandhi politically? Who would have remembered ki sorry bola, or are we too close to the elections for that to happen? Where do you see this going, Ashutosh?
There were only two choices. Either he would have said sorry and the judge would have accepted that, and the apologies must have been accepted by the complainant also, and the matter would have been finished. But suppose he was not sorry for what he said, then the other choice for him was to take it legally. But the question is, was it really taken legally in a proper manner? I don't find it that the things have gone in a proper legal direction. He had all those options to go for quashing, which never happened. And there are still many cases which are being filed in different courts. And I don't agree with Mr. Tehseen that it cannot be transferred. There have been many, many such incidences which have taken place. If any politician said something, hurting any religious sentiment or anything like that, there have been instances that so many cases were filed in different states, and the matter finally went to the Supreme Court, which transferred all these cases to one court. I'm not saying the Supreme Court itself will hear the entire issue, but it can transfer to one court, which can, finally decide.
It can club the case.
Yeah, it can club. Yes, clubbing of all the cases. That this we have seen in many of the cases. Not only this. So I feel that the legal, as Ashwini ji rightly said, that Salahkar, there has to be proper advice which should be followed, politically also, legally also. That can help him a lot in every way, in every field. This is what I feel.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not wrong, in the Nupur Sharma case also, there, of course, she felt there was a threat to her life for the comments that she'd made. She did appeal for a clubbing of the FIRs. Now, I really am out of time. Am I right? Am I right, Ashutosh? Yes. Okay.
Absolutely right.
Okay. Tehseen, these are very good questions legally, but I must give you the last word politically. Again, with a request that this doesn't sort of dissolve into a kind of a brawl, a verbal brawl. My question is this. There are many people who do not see in Mr. Gandhi a kind of democratic spirit because of the absence of democracy within the Congress party, because the highest decision-making bodies of the Congress have not held elections for decades, because the party's future is tied to one family and one family alone, and that you cannot be the champions of democracy, right, if you cannot create that democratic culture within the organization that you lead. That is the substance here of the question. Please do answer it in your closing remark.
Yeah, I will. But just once again to clarify, I spoke about Nupur Sharma. These were 153, 295A. These were FIRs, and the state was fighting Nupur, right? So states can go. These are individual criminal cases. So say I file a criminal case against you, Barkha. Now Supreme Court says I go and file it, say, in a Patna court. I mean, I may not be comfortable with that. So I think this is slightly technical. Let's not compare it to criminal FIRs that are filed. So
we leave it to the courts. And
but I'm not, leave that to the courts. But I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just too long a process. And he did go and appeal in the High Court, which was not accepted. Let's come to what you're saying and what Kapil said without being personal. Look, let's understand one thing. First, what Ashwini ji said, Rahul Gandhi did not tear any ordinance. He never tore.
He tore into the ordinance, metaphorically.
Yes, but he didn't tear the ordinance. He's being today criticized for taking a right stand, saying criminals, rapists, and murderers, who Arati ji spoke about, should not be there. The intent of the law was to put those people behind bars, not political speeches for which Rahul Gandhi is being prosecuted. That's number one. Number two, let's give, and I respect what Kapil is saying. I'm saying Rahul Gandhi may not be the best performing MP, right? He may not even be 100% Democrat. Let's agree to that. That still does not justify somebody being targeted the way Rahul Gandhi is being targeted, both before, not just in courts, but even in Parliament. Continuously, there were complaints made against him. He wasn't allowed to speak. Has Ghulam Nabi Azad's bungalow been taken back? Has his bungalow so far been taken back? He's not the leader. It is the Prime Minister, and I say this with respect, and his government that is creating all sorts of atrocities on people. People are going to jail for saying Modi hatao desh bachao.
Why would the Prime Minister be worried about Rahul Gandhi? I really have to close. Why would the Prime Minister be worried about Rahul Gandhi?
But people are going to jail.
Sorry, Tehseen? Tehseen, we
People
lost
are
you
going
there.
to jail for saying Modi hatao. Yeah,
Huh.
I'm there. Yeah. I'm just maybe make my point. People are going to jail for saying Modi hatao desh bachao. Worst was said about Rajiv Gandhi. Kali kali mein shore, Rajiv Gandhi chore. People are going to jail for saying Modi hatao desh bachao. But Rahul Gandhi is to blame for no democracy. I find this is an argument bizarre. Why should the Prime Minister be concerned? He's not concerned. The BJP is enjoying it. The BJP is getting this done because the BJP knows that the only family that they can fear at a certain level is the Gandhi family, who in Himachal, the Prime Minister made the elections personal and he lost.
Okay, sorry, I have to step. I'm sorry. I can't.
Okay. One at a time. I have.
Listen, stop your over dramatics. Stop your over dramatics. Stop your over dramatics.
Guys, please. I have a minute left. Let's go one at a time.
Yeah, don't
Tehseen,
be
complete your
immature.
sentence. Tehseen, Ashwini Shahi, and Arati, and Kapil. You'll all get 20 seconds each. Let's start with you, Tehseen. 20 seconds. Hang on, Kapil. Hang on, Kapil and Arati. I'm going to come to you. Tehseen, complete your point. Tehseen, 20 seconds.
Those political analysts who are preaching on this show about democracy don't even have the spine in them to 10 seconds hear another point of view. Of course, I'm going to make political points on your show, Barkha.
Okay.
What am I going to do? Of course, you've called me up to make political points.
Okay.
But to react in such an animated way.
Okay.
I mean, I find that funny.
I'm on the clock here.
Bizarre.
I'm on the clock here. Kapil, your 20 seconds. Kapil. Can we unmute
Sorry,
Kapil?
I thought you were closing with him. First of all, he arrives late. He's not very punctual. Then he says too much. He says 10 seconds and he goes on for 20 seconds.
Okay. Use your 20 seconds.
First of all, I just want to say something about him. The one family that he finds me bizarre, but he finds Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, he finds them divine. And, Modi has sleepless nights thinking about them. He says he fears that one family. He's really sort of given himself away, hasn't he? It's really coming down to one family. Modi fears one family. Actually, Modi is grateful to that one family because he beat them twice. The one thing I wanted to remind viewers is this. Rahul Gandhi actually did say that he's a top drawer Brahmin. I find that despicable and reprehensible. And more than Rahul Gandhi, as I said earlier on, Rahul Gandhi is actually perhaps a decent chap. The people I find reprehensible and despicable are the bootlickers around him, the sycophants who do nothing in their life. Their whole life revolves around.
Okay, I'm on the clock. Ashwini Shahi, your 20 seconds.
Last
Ashwini
word.
ji. Arati, who will get the last word? Arati, hang on. Ashwini Shahi has a comment, and you can get the last word. Ashwini ji.
जी देखिए बरखा जी, चूंकि बहस दूसरे तरफ चली जा रही, तहसीन भाई मैं कहना चाहूंगा, आपने मकान की बात की, सब कुछ कहा। 1980 भी आपको याद करना चाहिए। ये को माँ और बेटे को किस तरीके से घर से बाहर किया गया था, उस समय हल्ला किसी ने नहीं मचाया था। हम चीजों को बहस से किनारे नहीं ले जाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो भी एक घटना याद रखनी चाहिए गांधी परिवार को।
मेनका गांधी, यस, मेनका गांधी।
जी 1980 की बात मैं बता रहा हूं। और आज इनका मकान खाली, देखिए एक सांसद के नाते मकान मिलता है, दूसरा सांसद होगा उसको मिलेगा, हाईकोर्ट से स्टे मिलता है, मकान उनका हो जाएगा। इतना कष्ट और इतना जो है पॉलिटिकल मामला, इसको नहीं बढ़ाना चाहिए। बड़े आराम से एक सॉरी शब्द से शायद चीजें खत्म हो सकती थी, उसको आज कांग्रेस इतना बढ़ाकर आगे ले आ रही है। तो कहीं ना कहीं अंत में मैं फिर कहूंगा कि ये सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक है राहुल गांधी के खिलाफ, जो कांग्रेस का इंटरनल सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक है। और जो आप रेहान वाड्रा की बात मैं कर रहा था, अमेठी तक वो हो आए हैं, मैंने नहीं कहा, अमेठी तक हो आए हैं, दलित के घर खाना खा आए हैं। तो चीजें समझने वाली है कि आने वाले दिनों में क्या होने वाला है और क्या होगा। जी
अच्छा, चलिए, I really have to close. Arati, very quickly. Ashutosh has been the only calm guest today. Yes.
What I find really bizarre is that somebody is going to jail for a defamation case. What about all the hate speeches that are made during the course of an election campaign? Anurag Thakur, during the Delhi elections, he made a terrible speech. That FIR was quashed by the High Court. It was not even upheld. I mean, I think that, we need to get our priorities right. Defamation happens, it happens all the time during elections. But hate speeches, incitement to violence, how come those things are not punished?
Okay.
That is also Rahul Gandhi's fault. That's also Rahul Gandhi's fault.
convictions
We need to have
should be
another
given
show.
to
Yes,
to politicians.
the Supreme Court is in fact hearing hate speech cases just this week. We have to leave it there. This has been a volatile show in an unimaginable sort of way. The fault lines sort of drew themselves out in an unpredictable way. And for once, the supporters of the government could relax on the show and not get as agitated as the critics of the government amongst themselves. But leaving it there, to Kapil, Tehseen, Ashwini Shahi, Aashutosh, and Arati, thank you, and to our audience, see you soon. Thanks for watching. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.